name is Carol Hay. I'm CTO's Director for UK and Europe, and I'll be your moderator for this afternoon. It's a great pleasure that I invite the Secretary General of the Caribbean Tourism Organisation, Hugh Riley, to the stage to make an official welcome to you all.
Thank you very much, Carol. Honourable Ministers, I recognize in the front row the Honourable Portia Stubbs-Smith, Minister of Tourism for Turks and Caicos. Next to her is Minister Irene Arundel of Duck St. Martin, the Honourable Joanne Vane Horsford of Grenada, Mr. Rodney George, who is the new Chairman of the Grenada Tourism Authority, and Mr. Rudy Grant, who is the CEO of the Grenada Tourism Authority. Just entering is Minister Jan Rogers Vanderpool of Duck St. Martin. Other ministers, directors, CEOs, officials, students, our inspiring speaker who is going to be properly introduced in a minute, our panel of judges who will also be properly introduced in a minute, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to what is always such an exciting part of Caribbean Week in New York. Caribbean Week is an exposition of the color and the culture and the history and the food and the rhythm and the fun and the vacation special offers of the Caribbean. It's always a delicate choreography of all kinds of moving parts, and right in the middle of it, there's this students' colloquium. There is this opportunity for the young people of the Caribbean and of Caribbean heritage to teach us a few things, to tell us about creativity, to tell us how they see us, how they see the world, how they see the tourism economy. The first thing that I really would like to say is that we are here to learn from you. The second thing is that there are only winners. The competition is intense. Somebody is going to get 1 point or 2 points more than the next person. Everyone is a winner. And I'd like, with your permission, to ask for the loudest round of applause for every contestant this evening that he possibly can muster. On behalf of the Chairman of the Council of Ministers and Commissioners of Tourism, the Honourable Richard Seeley, it is such a pleasure and an honour for me now to officially declare this open and to turn it back over to our MC, Carol Hay.
Thank you very much, Hugh. Now, it's always important that when we have our young people in our presence, we invite motivational speakers to join us and to share their wealth of knowledge and experience. So it's a great pleasure that I introduce today's motivational speaker, Joanna Geraghty. Joanna is JetBlue's Executive Vice President of Customer Experience, responsible for airports, customer support, reservations, and in-flight service, the airline's main customer-facing teams. Ms. Geraghty served as JetBlue's Executive Vice President, Chief People Officer from 2010 to 2014, and was previously the airline's Vice President and Associate General Counsel and Director of Litigation and Regulatory Affairs. She has been with the New York-based airline since 2005. Before joining JetBlue, Ms. Geraghty was a partner at the law firm of Holland & Knight in their litigation section in New York. She received her BA from the College of the Holy Cross in 1994, her Master's in International Relations from Syracuse University's Maxwell School of Citizenship and Public Affairs in 1997, and her JD from Syracuse University College of Law in 1997. So it's a great pleasure with that introduction, that short introduction, that I now normally ask you to welcome Joanna to the stage so that she can share her knowledge and her experience with us, and I'm sure with you as well. Thank you so much, and welcome, Joanna.
Always a first. Good evening, ministers, directors of tourism, and most importantly, our students that are here today. This is about you and about the future and about what you're going to convince all of us to do as I think the next large project into the Caribbean in the world of sustainability. sustainability. Welcome to New York City. For those who don't know, JetBlue is New York's hometown airline. We are the only airline that has its headquarters actually based in New York City. Raise your hand if you fly JetBlue. Anybody fly JetBlue? So yes, most of the room. So that's good news for us, right? We've got something going on in the Caribbean, I think. So 16 years ago, JetBlue was founded, and we had a mission of bringing humanity back to air travel. And that was about delivering a great service at a great price. Largely a reflection on the industry at that time that frankly didn't take care of customers, but even more importantly, didn't take care of the employees or JetBlue crew members that in turn take care of customers. And so we started with that mission, and we think we are well on our way there. It's great to be speaking before the Caribbean Tourism Organization. For those who don't know, JetBlue was originally founded as purely a domestic airline, and the Caribbean was actually not even part of our original plan. And wow, how things have changed there. We learned very quickly in the airline industry that you need to stay flexible, you need to evolve, and most importantly, you need to stay relevant. And if you consider the airlines that existed back in 1999 and 2000 when JetBlue was founded, so many of them are actually gone today. And so I think JetBlue has positioned itself uniquely to really not just succeed, but thrive. And part of that is because we evolved and realized very quickly that the Caribbean was a rich place, not just rich in terms of dollars, but a rich place culturally that we wanted our customers to see and explore. Today, we have, we'll actually exceed 1,000 flights daily this summer. We fly to over 20 nations in the Caribbean. 1/3 of our flights are actually in the Caribbean, and we touch nearly 2 million tourists every year. We fly into the Caribbean. We are the largest airline in the Dominican Republic and in Puerto Rico. So clearly a very, very important part of JetBlue's route network, but a very, very important part of our future and our business plan. Because we are so deeply rooted in the Caribbean, sustainability in the islands and in the Caribbean is a very important part of our DNA. And we are looking at a number of projects so that we ensure we're giving back and we're supporting the countries in the Caribbean in the right ways. I want to applaud the CTO teams here tonight who are tackling some of these important issues. It's so vitally important for this region to make sure that we're leaving the right footprint in the environment and that we're improving conditions in our beaches and on our waters, because tourism is such an important part of that region. So I wanted to talk a little bit about JetBlue's sustainability programs. As I mentioned, 1/3 of our network touches the Caribbean. And we know that communities and the economy do much better when there are clean oceans and ecosystems to support tourism in those locations. We have 3 principal areas that we are focused on at JetBlue in terms of our environmental program in the Caribbean. The first is reducing the demand for the illegal wildlife trade. The second is measuring the value of the shoreline and clean beaches. So how do you actually connect that customers will pay more to go to countries that maintain clean beaches and a clean shoreline? And then third, reducing greenhouse gas emissions and addressing climate change. First, I wanted to talk a little bit about wildlife trafficking. Earlier this year, JetBlue signed a partnership with the Fish and Wildlife Services Organization in the United States. Obviously, removing animals from their natural habitat has a very deleterious impact on the environment and also would dissuade tourists from traveling to many of those locations. And that's frankly what makes so many of these areas very appealing. And so we felt that it was important to partner with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Organization in terms of an educational campaign so that tourists understand why it's important not to remove animals from their natural habitat. We're going to be running an online video. So for those who've flown JetBlue, you know we have lots of TVs on our flights and it's free. So we're going to be including an online educational awareness campaign, and then also looking for ways that we can promote and advocate awareness in this area through social media and other communication channels. The second area is protecting the health of the Caribbean waters. So it's difficult to actually establish that there is a revenue benefit in maintaining healthier beaches and waters. It's a bit of a tenuous connection. And so JetBlue has partnered with the Ocean Foundation to engage in a series of studies where we look at trying to connect RASM, which is the principal revenue metric airlines use, revenue per available seat mile, with the underlying drivers of a clean ecosystem. So think water, water quality, mangroves, and waste, and those things that drive those underlying ecosystems, and how maintaining that in a responsible way will ultimately lead to customers choosing to pay more to fly to those locations that have cleaner beaches and cleaner waters. We're also looking at sargassum and the seaweed epidemic that touched much of the Caribbean in 2015, and how we can contribute to cleaning that up, because obviously that will dissuade travelers from visiting locations that have that kind of seaweed. And then obviously Cuba, we looked and have applied for service to several locations in Cuba. And if you think about the amount of beaches that are in Cuba, it's actually more than what you see in all of Florida. It's going to be so important to ensure that we're ahead of these issues as the Cuban borders open up to U.S. tourism. And then finally, climate change. We obviously as an airline play our part in contributing to some of the climate change challenges through the emission of greenhouse gas emissions. One of the things that we're focusing on is how can we reduce that footprint, and also how can we avoid coral bleaching, because obviously people come to scuba dive and explore areas in the Caribbean that have beautiful coral reefs, so we want to ensure that those maintain, so that those are intact and not further damaged. A few of the things that we're doing in that regard, we've actually offset 1 million pounds of carbon dioxide emissions. We've focused on renewable energy. We actually are trialing electric ground service equipment in certain parts of the United States, and at some point hope to bring that much further. And then next generation technology. So you hear a lot in the United States about air traffic control and how it's antiquated. Well, part of next generation is how do you reduce the stage length of flights so that you can reduce your carbon footprint, so you fly less, right? So that's another significant area. And then we've also spent quite an amount of tickets flying scientists down to the Caribbean to help restore some of the coral reefs and focus on some of the environmental impact on the coral reefs. From JetBlue's perspective, not only does environmental focus make business sense, but it also makes a lot of people sense. And as the airline whose mission is to inspire humanity, it makes a lot of sense for JetBlue. Because we're not just about inspiring humanity in the air, we're about inspiring humanity on the ground and in the communities that we serve. So this is a motivational speech, so I'm going to pivot a little bit and talk about careers and some of the things that I've learned for the students in the group, just as a way of reflecting as you embark on your career, which is such an exciting thing. So whether it's sustainability or hospitality, the careers in the travel and tourism industry are absolutely endless. And it's really exciting to see many of you considering a career in this industry. When I went to university, I absolutely did not think that I would ever work for an airline. It wasn't the first thing on my mind. And now I find myself running, a department with 13,000 crew members that support an airline. And so you have to think big and you have to think differently, because what you set out to do today might not actually be where you end up. I actually initially got my start in the airline industry by taking a job with a small law firm that focused on aviation law. So I spent a lot of time at small claims court at night managing lost baggage claims. So that's how I started my career and took it from there. In the United States, there was a television show called Night Court. I don't know if that ever made it. So Night Court actually exists in New York City. It's called Small Claims Court. And depending on the age of the plaintiff, you either go to court during the day or you go to court at night. And as a young associate in my first firm, I spent a lot of time in Brooklyn, in the Bronx, and in Queens going to night court, helping a variety of airlines, including some of our Caribbean partner airlines, through some of their lost baggage claims. So you never know where you're going to start. And that probably took me much further than most careers in my most positions I've had, and ultimately I became hooked. As Carol mentioned, I've been here at JetBlue for 11 years. I've had a number of different roles. I worked in our legal department, managing all of our litigation and regulatory matters. I became the Associate General Counsel. Then I moved into our people department as Chief People Officer. At JetBlue, we call the people department human resources, so all of the HR functions that you would typically see. And then about 2 years ago, I stepped into this role, overseeing all of our airports. We fly to 90 plus locations in the Caribbean and in North America, and then all of our in-flight crew members and all of our reservation agents. So a lot of people in my department, which makes coming to work every day and trying to motivate our crew members the most exciting part about my job. One thing I did learn is with each new job, it's pretty scary, right? I mean, you start out, it's sort of outside of your comfort zone, and you just take the leap and go and hope like heck you're going to work hard and it's all going to work out. But if you don't take risks, it's not going to get you very far in life. The other thing I learned is you need to build a team of experts. And I have two of them in the room with me. So for all of you who have questions about our sustainability program, Sophia and Sarah can go really deep. I was actually nervous when I heard there were students here because I figured you guys could go really deep on some of these programs. And I, for one, can go kind of deep, but not as deep as Sarah and Sophia can go. So feel free to talk with them on the break about any questions you may have about our program. Some of you guys can give a little wave so you know who you are. There are sustainability maidens. At JetBlue, we place a very large emphasis on culture and taking care of people. And one of the things that Dave Barger, who was originally going to be here, taught me was that the tone is set at the top. And you need leaders who believe in a mission. You need leaders who believe that the people at the company are going to make things tick, and they ultimately set the tone. And I've always taken that to heart as I lead my own teams. I've also learned that there's a lot of different types of leadership styles. So as you embark on your career, you need to think very carefully about who you want to work for and what leadership style works, knowing you're going to learn different things from every different type of leadership style. But ultimately, what kind of leader do you want to be? Dave talked a lot when I worked for him about servant leadership. The former head of HR at AT&T, which was a large phone company in the United States, actually is considered the father of servant leadership. And servant leadership is about putting the you before me. So putting the people who work for you before you as the leader. It's about selling, so explaining why, not telling. We've all had people tell us just do it because I said so. Well, I think this generation of millennials likes to understand why and the explanation behind the cause. Being open to diverse opinions because everybody has something to ultimately contribute to the discussion. Communicate. I think most of the leaders in the room would say they probably can't communicate enough. And at JetBlue, we say, if you think you've communicated enough, triple it, because chances are somebody didn't hear what you were trying to say. Creating an environment that is one built on trust and caring. As an airline that is focused on inspiring humanity, your culture and your company, like JetBlue, need to be rooted in trust and caring. And ultimately, fairness, in my mind, is the highest compliment. Let's face it, we all have people that we like better than others, but at the end of the day, treating everybody equally is so critically important to establishing yourself as a leader. Being deeply committed to the growth of your team. If you work for somebody who is not deeply committed to your own personal growth, you need to take it into your own hands and run with it, or you need to find somebody that's going to help you focus on your growth and your development. And at the end of the day, people want to work for a company or an institution that's bigger than themselves, that has a deeper sense of meaning and a bigger purpose. And I think talking about sustainability in the environment, most organizations in that field squarely fit that bill, but sometimes it's harder to make that connection. And so as a leader, how do you create that sense of purpose for your employees? How do you create that sense of being and sense of belonging? At JetBlue, there were a lot of opportunities presented for me along the way. We've talked about our sustainability programs. Education is another significant platform. We have a foundation at JetBlue called the JetBlue Foundation, and the focus is about ensuring that we're educating the next generation in science, technology, engineering, and math, primarily in underrepresented communities, so women, minorities, and veterans, and making sure that students consider careers in aviation, consider careers in science and math, because it's so critical to our industry to make sure that there are students, and there are diverse students, that are exploring careers in that way. And actually this year we gave our first grant to a Caribbean organization, the Inter-American University of Puerto Rico, to focus on a mentoring program for girls so they will explore careers in the airline and aerospace industry. So at JetBlue, I hope you've seen it's not just about inspiring humanity in the air. It's about inspiring humanity on the ground and making sure that we're giving back, and giving back in the right ways. We think a lot about the next generation. I have an 8-year-old at home, so I think a lot about the next generation. And I think about the community, and I think about the environment and the footprint that I'm comfortable with us leaving. What kind of environment do we want to leave our children? What kind of industry? Do we want an industry that's all white men, or do we want an industry that's full of many different people with many different backgrounds, socioeconomically, ethnically, that add to the richness of this, wonderful industry that we're all a part of? And then to just wrap things up, I thought maybe a quick, in no kind of particular order, lessons learned from me for the students, so that you can think about sort of some of the things as you embark on your careers, about obstacles and things that you may confront. So a couple bits of wisdom. So here goes. Never lose sight of where you came from and the people who have shaped you. All of those things add to who you are, and it's going to add to creating a really unique footprint for whatever company or organization you go to. Be who you are. Say what you feel, say what you think, and don't be afraid of it. And if you work for somebody that doesn't care about your opinion, find another job. Dream big, be willing to fail, because you will. And you'll fail once and twice, and you'll continue to fail, and I fail every day. And sometimes failing is a really good thing because you learn from failing. But make sure you get back up. It's just as important. Don't be afraid to take risks. I think women in particular sometimes are afraid to take risks. They don't actually take that job until they have all the criteria and they're like 100% confident they can do it. Don't be afraid. Take risks. You'll never know if you can do it unless you try. Be nice to everybody. Be humble. You are as valued and as important as everyone else, but not 1 ounce more. And then finally, no great things are achieved without a lot of hard work. So put in those extra hours. At your age and at your stage, hopefully is where you can find the time. Once you start having families and kids, it gets harder. So when you find those pockets and those moments to put in that little extra effort, make sure you do, because nobody ever succeeded because they put in an extra few hours. So with that, I wish the best of luck to all the contestants. Thank you for the honor to speak tonight, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful symposium. Thank you.
And thank you, Joanna, for taking the time to share with us. Now, before we move on into the program, are there any questions? Think about it, students. Is there anything that you would like to ask Joanna? Or her team members who are here? Anything at all about the aviation industry? So no one is looking for internships or anything like that. No one is going to use the opportunity. No questions? That's okay. I know that she's a bit busy, but hopefully she'll be able to spend a little bit more time with us. Because I'm sure, like the rest of us, she really wants to see what is all of this about. So, as with age, I'll now put my glasses on. And we're here because it's all about the Students' Colliquium, now in its 6th year. It's the contest among students who are challenged to present well-researched, practical, and financially viable sustainable tourism projects. Dubbed a forum for rising stars in Caribbean tourism, it attracts students enrolled in tourism and hospitality programs, as well as other university college majors who have a passion for the Caribbean and are desirous of making a contribution to the region's development in a sustainable way. This year, teams submitted their business plans, and an independent panel of judges evaluated them and chose the top finalists. And who are the judges? We have three judges here with us today. First of all, now they have very long CVs, so I'm not going to read them all and they won't mind, but I will do a quick introduction. The first judge is Andrea Hutchinson, who has over 20 years of experience in event management and public relations, specializing in destinations, luxury and all-inclusive hotels. Ms. Hutchinson's career began as the public relations director of the all-inclusive Caribbean resort Super Clubs. Let's welcome her. Please stand. Our second judge is Dr. Robert Lee, professor and Washburn Senior Research Fellow at the School of Tourism and Hospitality Management, Temple University. Previously, he taught at the School of Hotel Restaurant and Tourism Management at the University of South Carolina. So please, let's welcome Professor Lee. And our third judge, Mr. Hugh Hoff. Hugh Hoff began his advertising career as an art director in Madrid in 1980. For 13 years, he worked in and around the globe, Madrid, Colombia, New York, in big international advertising agencies, including Ogilvy, Gray, and JM. And he worked for big international clients, including Panasonic, and destinations such as Spain, Monaco, and Aruba. So let's also welcome Hugh Hoff. Now, very soon we're going to meet the students. But first of all, what are the judges looking for? Well, we'll just very briefly go over it so that once we get started, you can understand the criteria. So the first criteria will be the introduction and the overview, and that carries 10 points. We'll also be looking at practicality to the Caribbean region, that carries another 10 points. Marketing strategy, 15 points. Presentation, 15 points. Content, 20 points. And effectiveness of the presentation, 5 points. And that's a total of 75 points. And also the judges will also make comments that they will share. So once presentations take place, they're not only looking for what you're going to be seeing, but also what's on paper and what's practical. So, who have we got today? Right, so today, and we have, now what I'm going to ask you to do is I'll read out all the entrants, and then at the end we'll have one applause, okay? So first of all, it would be the College of the Bahamas with Kerry Cartwright, Travis Robinson, Kendall Sands, and I think that's Ianta Stubbs. We'll also have a team from the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine in Trinidad, and that's Naila Babalau, Ken Bird Murray, Tamara Lewis, Laverne Wiltshire, Leslie Ann Jordan Miller. We're also going to have a team from the Turks and Caicos Islands Community College, which is also the defending champions. And their team is made up of Valencia Lightbourne, Davina Carroll, Shakaya Lewis, and Alicia Forbes. And the fourth team is the University of Technology Jamaica, that's Tamika Bedford, Waynish Brown, Michelle Morgan. Now, we're going to get straight to the moment where we're going to invite the first team on stage. Now, I hope I've got this in the right order. It says that the first team to present is the College of the Bahamas from Nassau. Is that correct? Then join us on stage. And if I have massacred your name, please forgive me. Have a quiet word with me afterwards. But good luck.
Seriously, we need to seize this opportunity. And this opportunity is too big to pass up.
Okay, that's what we need to do. Everybody do your research, get those creative juices flowing, and think about ways that we can become shall we meet in the next 10 years.
Hey guys! Hey! Listen, last time I mentioned this great idea of creating a business plan for a small sustainable lodge. I hope you guys did your homework. So, Ayante, how have you been?
Well, I just came back from this amazing conference in Paris that talked about tourism and sustainability. Just remember this, 1.5 to stay alive. So, Ken, how are you?
Well, you know, Bob just had its second annual Jumping Carnival, so y'all better believe I was on the road. Be ready for the road.
No, Carrie?
Anyway, I've been good. Just really thinking about this crown land. I think I found the perfect location. We should have our intimate lodging establishment on Andros.
Why Andros?
Andros is the largest island in the Bahamas, even larger than some of our Caribbean countries.
It also has the third largest barrier reef in the world.
Andros also has the highest concentration of blue whales anywhere else in the world.
It's home to the Seminole Indians, whose culture still emanates in the lives of the locals today.
Wait, you're talking about Andros that's west of the tongue of the ocean?
Yes, Travis, that Andros that has the largest carbon sequestration in the world.
And you know, there's a lot of wildlife because Andros is virtually untouched. A lot of green spaces, a lot of bird watching.
Speaking of birds, don't they have that one creature over there or something?
Yeah, like a bird-type mythological
I
creature.
think it's called
The Chickcharney! And you know I heard that. Wait, hold on. Someone describe the Chickcharney again to me.
Hey, listen. Rumor has it that the Chickcharney stands at 3 feet tall. It has 3 toes on each foot, 3 fingers on each hand, a tail, a head and owl, and bloodshot red eyes.
That sounds scary.
Wait, guys, don't you think that would be the ideal name for our bed and breakfast? The Chickcharney.
So why are we naming our bed and breakfast after this scary-looking mythological creature?
Because it's rumored to bring good luck for anyone who sees it.
Good luck.
Good luck.
We need
a-
All right, so we have the name of our bed and breakfast. How big is it going to be? I mean, we do want something intimate, right?
I'd say about 8 cabins.
You know, we could build these cabins on stilts, get them LEED certified, and build them out of Trex material.
Trex? You mean T-Rex? Hey, what's Trex?
Trex material is a 95% recyclable material made out of plastics and sawdust. It's used for decking and other purposes.
Okay, that's interesting.
Well, listen, water is something we have in abundance, right? So can't we use some sort of water energy?
Yeah, we can use blue energy, first introduced by Ari Paddle. What it does is it uses salt ions that are in high concentration and low concentration, and as water passes through a semi-permeable membrane, energy is produced. This energy can be used to power turbines, and who knows, we could use this in our bed and breakfast.
Yeah, and we do have a lot of land.
Yeah, we do.
Maybe we could plant a sustainable forest and use biomass energy.
But biomass energy? I'll need you to break that down.
All right, biomass energy is when you use wood as fuel. It's somewhat controversial right now because some people think that you're just adding to the world's carbon footprint. According to Steve Sepp, that's not the case. You're achieving carbon neutrality. The same amount of carbon that's emitted when we burn the fuel is the same amount of carbon that's released when a tree naturally dies in the forest.
Okay, I understand all of that, right? But why do we want to take trees out of the forest in the first place?
Maybe we could use a tree that's an invasive species. You know, like those casarina trees. Everyone knows that those trees literally take over wherever they're found.
Yeah, and when building, we could plant the lignum vitae, the national tree of the Bahamas, or the yellow elder, the national flower of the Bahamas.
I mean, maybe we can even transport these casarina trees from other islands of the Bahamas. But let's just think. What about when we eventually water casarina trees?
That's not going to be a problem because we'll already have a number of sustainably growing trees in our forest. So every time we remove a tree, we'll plant one in its place.
That's awesome.
You know, Steve Sepp also said by the year 2030, almost 80% of the world will be using biomass. So I really think that we need to get on top of our game here.
Okay, guys, so you know I love my Bahamian culture, right? So how do we intend on incorporating the Bahamian culture into this bed and breakfast?
Why not use the cabin to do so? You know, I think we should call the cabin the name of the endangered bird species of the country we're in. So we can have the flamingo room or the Bahama parrot room.
Okay, but what's inside of these rooms going to look like?
It's gonna look like the Bahamian Androsia shirt, like what we're wearing right now.
Speaking of rooms, of course, all of the rooms are going to be energy efficient. So we'll have energy efficient light bulbs, energy efficient television. But what are we going to do to cut down on electricity costs?
We're going to use this key card locking system I heard about. What you do is you get the key and you put it in the slot and unlock the door and all power turns on. And as you leave the room and you take the key out of the slot, all power turns off. An exception of a charging port. So we'll be saving some extra bucks by doing this.
That's a really good idea. So we're cutting back on electricity. How are we going to cut water activity?
We could use this new shower head that was recently invented.
I think I know what you're talking about. The hydro shower head,
Yeah,
right?
the shower head changes color based on how much water is being used. So when less than 10 liters of water is used, the shower head is purple. When a guest uses more than 50 liters of water, the shower head turns red. So our guests will literally see how much water they're consuming. But we want them to conserve water and to be more environmentally conscious. You know, that should be one of our goals in our mission statement.
I think that's a good idea.
So we're cutting back on electricity, we're incorporating our Bahamian culture. What about that lady in Andrews who makes the shampoo and conditioner?
Sheila?
Yeah.
That's my girl.
Why don't we get her to supply our bed and breakfast with all of the toiletry items we'll need? You know, she makes her toiletry containers out of this biodegradable material of red algae powder and water. She adapted the idea from that Icelandic student who made that biodegradable water bottle.
I think it's great we're involving the locals. You know, I heard about this term, economic leakage. So the more we have local employees, the less economic leakage will have.
Okay guys, but what's going to make our BNB different from other bed and breakfasts?
Travis, simply the fact that we're not only going to be sustaining the environment, but the economy that we're operating
And
in.
how do we intend on attracting our potential visitors?
All right, to attract potential visitors, this is what we should say. Y'all ready?
Tell us.
When you come to the Chickcharney at Birds of Paradise, you will have a chance at receiving good luck for the rest of your life.
A chance?
But you are guaranteed to have a wonderful vacation that poses minimal threat to the environment.
Guaranteed. Sounds like a plan.
And you know, we can target those allocentric tourists as well. The ones that would want to go and look for that mythical bird creature, the Chickcharney.
The adventurous.
The adventurous, but also those mid-century tourists. Those who don't really know what these things are, but once we get them, they'll never go back. We have them bleeding green.
Wait, what?
We can look at that acronym in our core values. G for growth, R for renewable, E for environmentally conscious, E for eco-friendly, and N for nature-driven.
We will all definitely bleed green.
Okay, but if someone didn't know about these practices, they think that they're so expensive. So Kendall, what do you think?
You know, all this talk about these 8 Kelvins, all this vast property we're going to have, we will be able to alleviate a major expense by, first of all, acquiring the crown land from the government of Bahamas.
You know, because it's all good to have an environmentally conscious consumer, to have all these green practices, to care about the environment. But y'all know we also care about that green paper.
Yeah.
So Kendall, did you prepare any financial information for us?
Did you prepare any financial information? Of course.
All right, then show us.
Let's talk money. First thing first. We don't want to charge too much because after all, we're trying to penetrate the market.
Okay.
So we're looking at an ADR of roughly 125. We intend on operating all year round. Market research proves that first year occupancy for bed and breakfast is roughly 58%. Toss in 8 cabins and we have rooms revenue of $211,700. We are going to care about our visitors so much that for a flat rate of $75, we'll offer them transportation for the entire duration of their stay. When we replace this rate with the ADR, we look at $122,900 from transportation revenues alone. When transportation and rooms revenue are combined, we look at a total of $335,600.
But Kendall, that's just revenues. That's not even profits. So let's talk about these expenses before we get too excited.
All right, we consider expenses, you know, we have some fixed costs, things such as a site maintenance fee, some utilities, some wages, maybe our price of the jingle.
Birds of paradise.
Can we get back to expenses, please? We have some variable costs, you know, utilities, wages, equipment. Total expenses will run us into roughly $309,425. Once you track our expenses and taxes from our total revenues, we look at $24,000 at the end of the year, guys. Simply profit.
All right, but that's with the penetration pricing. So in the years following, our net income will increase, right?
Exactly. Projected revenue growth for bed and breakfast is roughly 4.6% annually.
All right.
So if our first year sales are $335,600, sales at the end of year 5 will be $401,000.
So if the Chickcharney at Birds of Paradise in Andrews is a success, imagine in 10 years.
Once we have enough capital, we'll be able to expand to other countries and become the leaders in intimate lodging there.
I mean, just imagine expanding to Cuba, the Tocororo at Birds of Paradise.
Or the Zenaida at Birds of Paradise in Anguilla.
Okay guys, it's good to constantly make a profit and expand, but we need to be able to sustain our bed and breakfast. We'll be able to do so by targeting new markets. So we'll be sustaining our bed and breakfast, the economy, and the environment.
While educating people on how to have a really good vacation that poses minimal threat to the environment. We'll have them bleeding green here and throughout the region.
Okay guys, let's get back to that jingle. That was real catchy. Birds of paradise there to see, connecting islands across the sea, spending time intimately while practicing sustainability at the Chick Charlie. One more time. Talking about the Chicani at Birds of Paradise Bed and Breakfast. We're now ready for the second team. I can see the judges are busy. So, let's now have the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine. Well, once the teams are on stage, there'll be no break. We'll call each team up, they'll set up, and then they will start their presentations. Now really what we always want to remind the audience is if you could be quiet between the presentations, because it's actually quite nerve-wracking for people to be up there. And sometimes if we, even if we're trying to give encouragement or we're not in agreement, sometimes it does unnerve people. So to be supportive of the students, we will ask for everyone to really, just be quiet. And now, to my timekeeper, Richard, how many minutes does each team have to present? 10 minutes. And why don't you join us for a second? Come on. Yes? Because what I want her to do, being the timekeeper, is just to ensure that we are all aware of the rules.
Good evening, everyone. Well, I just want to acknowledge as well, we have 20 students from Guyana, so if they can please stand up. And Guyana, we are in the back. Welcome. So as Ms. Hay was saying, we'll have 10 minutes. And that includes set of time, so keep in mind, students, set of time includes the 10 minutes. And as you reach the 11th minute, then you'll be given a little bell ring that you've gone over your time. Okay?
Thank you very much, and she is our timekeeper. Now, of course, events like these cannot work without sponsorship, so I just want to take a moment to recognize the sponsors that we have here. I hope they're present. Academy Engraving. Do we have the representative from Academy Engraving here yet? But even if they're not here yet, we do appreciate the sponsorship and thank them very much. City Tech Solutions. Yes, we have a young man here. And also the St. Kitts Tourism Authority. I know that they're here, but anyway, we just really want to thank the sponsors because without them, we really couldn't do this. Now, we're going to get straight to the moment where we're going to invite the first team on stage. And timekeeper, do they have any time to set up and then you indicate when their 10 minutes starts? Is that how it works? No time to set up? It's part of the 10 minutes. Well, you know what they say, use that time wisely. Now, I hope I've got this in the right order. It says that the first team to present is the College of the Bahamas from Nassau. Is that correct? Then join us on stage. While the University of the West Indies prepares themselves, we also want to recognize the presence of all the professors here who work with the teams. So for the College of the Bahamas, we have Ruth Gardner. Ruth, could we ask you to stand please? For the we have Dr. Leslie Ann Jordan Miller. St. Caicos Community College, we have Michelle Hoston. And for the University of Technology Jamaica, we have Benny Watson. So thank you to all the lecturers, professors who've taken the time to work with the students. We do recognise your effort and commitment, and thank you. Are we ready? Henry Murray, Tamara Lewis, Laverne Wilshire, and Leslie Ann Jordan Miller.
So ladies, where's Laverne?
Laverne couldn't be here today, you know. She got caught up at the Coconut Estate doing a school tour. But don't worry, she did her research and she sent her notes.
Alright, that's okay. Proceed with Doctor for today. Okay, welcome to the CTO Village Council meeting. In attendance today we have
Tomorrow Lewis, representing the Coconut Vendors Association.
and
Nyla Bavla, the Catholic Village resident.
right. So ladies, at our last meeting, we were discussing some of the socioeconomic factors affecting CTRUS. And socioeconomic factors affecting CTRUS. Now remember, our Minister of Tourism, Minister Pedro, did challenge us to create a sustainable agri-tourism business plan, one that can enhance our tourism product. This plan should also allow guests to connect to the history and culture of CTRUS. It should also provide employment and new entrepreneurial opportunities. This plan as well should incorporate all the natural resources of the area. And let's not forget, enhance our infrastructure, agricultural capabilities. Now, coconut, recently, coconut has been known as one of the superfoods, right? And as a result, we have had to do some research and we came up with the CTRUS Coconut Estate, where guests can come and see, smell, taste, and experience many attributes of coconut. So that being said, Nyla, you remember you had to do some research on some of the elements of coconut at school? What did you come up with?
Well, Ken, from my research, I came up with an exciting workshop that showcases coconut as part of the cuisine as food in Trinidad and Tobago. Coconut is infused in so many of our dishes, from gourmets to desserts. Visitors will have a chance to prepare, taste, and experience authentic Trini dishes in a 2-hour workshop that will be hosted by us, the residents.
Right.
They will understand the versatility of the uses of coconut. They will also know how food is extracted from coconut, such as the grating of the flesh, oil is extracted, and milk is extracted, which is either kept in milk or powdered form. Additionally, visitors will have a chance to prepare some of the dishes that will be served in our CTRUS Coconut restaurant. These include coconut cake, coconut ice cream, coconut sweetbread, and most importantly, coconut sugar cake.
But tomorrow we
Tomorrow, that's not for you. That's after the meeting.
exactly. We're supposed to also talk about some activities that the guests are engaged in. What should you come up with?
Well, Ken, as you know, coconut is not just food. In Trinidad and Tobago, coconut is an art form for us. So I envision an activity where guests get to harness their inner creativity, and they can learn from our locals all the different techniques that we have and we use coconut for. So for example, weaving, they will get chances to learn how to weave the branches and create different patterns and eventually baskets. They will get to learn how to carve the shell and create lovely earrings like what I'm wearing. Yeah, like what I'm wearing here today.
Yes,
and they'll get a chance to learn how to do these things. And we can have some of these things displayed in our souvenir shop and even in the museum. But Ken, coconut is not just an art form for us. It has very practical applications to coconut, you know. In every household in Trinidad and Tobago used to have their trusty coconut brew. And we use this.
Hey, watch this, you can open all the margin.
Be careful.
So yes, I think it's even take the shell and carve it and make cups and bowls and different things. So I'm seeing our guests not only taking away souvenirs, but the experience. Because you know, for us, the coconut has been like a plant of life.
It has, you know. I know we also use it for medicine as well.
That's true, Ken.
Right. You know, I think we also add another activity to the Citrus Coconut Estate, a 2-hour medicinal workshop. But guests can be taken on a healing and renewing journey of the properties of coconut.
But that's not good enough, Ken. But what exactly they're going to learn?
So we're going to include it in the diet. Remember, coconut is good for weight loss as well.
And I know we know somebody who could do it someone.
Listen, I'll leave it in my belly now. Anyways, let's continue. Coconut is also good for cardiovascular diseases. They can even help in lowering levels of cholesterol.
True.
And it even helps with diabetes. Guests can also come to the coconut estate and they will learn how to do some of these same practices in their daily lives and create their own personal remedies at home. You know, we came up with some wonderful ideas.
Ken, you know, we could also use it for a reforestation project.
How could we
We
forget the
can have
sustainable
guests
aspect?
involved in replanting all the estates that we have down the Seagrass teaching about the whole life cycle of the plants.
Sustainability, that's
Yeah.
correct. You know, we have some wonderful ideas here today. But how are we going to market this to local and international visitors?
Well, Ken, I'm glad you asked. Because the first thing we need to do is create a logo. Look at the one I've I've designed here on this brochure. We need a brand that represents us to show how special we are. You know, our coconut estate is the only one in the country. It is unique and will provide authentic experiences. All our 10 of our visitors are going to be interactive, educational, and enjoyable.
Right.
And we're doing all of this in an environmentally sustainable manner. That's how special we are.
That is wonderful. So who are we targeting?
Well, Ken, firstly, we're targeting the domestic market. We're going to look at residents from surrounding areas, like family outings and school tours. Remember that's what we've been doing today?
That's true.
And then we want to expand to the international market. Visitors come back home, agri-tourists, and also cultural tourists.
But Nyla, how would you reach these people?
Tomorrow, very simple. Our first strategy is advertising. And two main words today, social media. Everything now is Facebook and Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah.
We're going to create our own Facebook page and our own website so that we can provide information easily accessible for everyone. We're even going to do ads in magazines such as Ins and Out and Colliquium. We also, for the launch of our estate, we're going to have a press release so that we could invite politicians, historians, and agricultural enthusiasts. And then we'll promote it even more by having contests and giveaways.
You know what? This is sounding like a comprehensive plan, but we need to talk money here. Tamara, is this financially viable?
Well, based on the few things that we're discussing here,
Yeah.
I ran some projections. And the way I see it, our key main operational cost centers are going to be construction of the workshops and construction of the museum and the restaurant and everything, staffing, maintenance of all these different areas and public spacing, that very comprehensive marketing program that Nyla outlined there, and any little events and activities that we want to have on the estate. You know, she wanted to show me a little fat and thing, you know.
Like a fact.
So, I'm seeing us having 5 key revenue centers as well. The workshops, entrance into the museum, the restaurant, the souvenir and gift shops, and the school tours as we discussed. So based on that, that's some cost. I'm seeing us charging our overhead cost of maybe $50 for participation in 3 of the 6 workshops that we described earlier. I could see them enjoying that, and charging an entrance fee of maybe $5 into the museum, and for the school tours, $3 per student. Now based on those costs, I'm only looking at maybe a 1%, just to be, conservative, a 1% growth over the next 2 years. We are looking at revenues of up to $120,000 within the first year, $300,000 by the third year. And this is only assuming that 3% of our guests and visitors engage in paid activities.
Wow, that sounds like it could really benefit the people of Seagrass.
And we ain't even talking about the job
In
creation
the water
here. Yeah, because we're looking at tour operators. We're looking at people to teach all these different things. We're looking at people for maintenance, security.
Right, Tamara, and for the project to be sustainable, the residents of Seagrass must take responsibility in this project, and they must also collaborate with other entities and organizations. The residents themselves could become small businessmen, entrepreneurs and restaurateurs. Also, they can serve as teachers, informing visitors about the history and culture of Seagrass and also the practices at the estate. And most importantly, they could expand and develop their homes and land in order to welcome the visitors.
That will encourage homestays.
Exactly.
And that's
Yes,
sustainable approach.
picture it. Our guests waking up in our homestay to the scent of freshly prepared coconut bake every
I know
morning.
what you're talking about. Ladies, we've come with some wonderful ideas here today. Ideas that can enhance our tourism product, develop the Seagrass community, and of course revitalize our agricultural sector. And you know, this money, I can see this money being used in other favorite destinations. I can see a cocoa estate, a spice estate, and guess what? Even a coffee estate. You know what? I think we're set. We're set to sell secrets to the world. I can see that.
I can see it.
Coconut water. Drink the coconut water. Drink the coconut water.
Drink your coconut water. Drink your coconut water. Drink the coconut water that you cannot get in America.